Okay, this is leaf propagation video take 6, I think. I'm just gonna dive in, okay, before I get tongue-tied again. So yeah, I thought I'd come to you today and just do a brief video about the different techniques that we use to propagate our succulents from leaves. We use quite a few different techniques at the nursery, and it's really, I'll go through them, but it's really difficult to say if one is better than the other. So just depends sometimes on the size of the leaf, how much room that we have, and things like that. So yeah, I will say before I get into it that not all succulents can be propagated from by leaves. So for example, we grow a lot of aeonium succulents, and we take all of our cuttings as stem cuttings. So sorry, this is not an aeonium, but just to show you, we did a video the other day about taking the cuttings from stem, and then this will go into the soil. But what I'm going to talk to you today is about taking the actual individual leaves and propagating from them. So yeah, we find not a lot of the aeoniums propagate from leaves. I'm not really sure. Lots of the aeoniums are much sort of thinner leaf. And I do find that the fatter and the bigger the leaves, the easier they do tend to be to propagate. And that's just like random, just from experience. I don't know if that is any science behind that, because there are smaller leaves that we have success with too. It's just a general rule of thumb. So yeah, just to start with, you want to start with a relatively healthy plant, and you want to take leaves that are from the bottom, so the larger, fatter leaves, because especially if you're not taking cuttings and you're not cutting the plant, you want to leave the plant looking relatively, presentable. So it's best to go in and take the bottom leaves. And it's really straightforward to take the leaf cuttings. And if you're struggling and you're finding there's resistance getting the leaf off the plant, it's probably best to leave it on there, or the plant's not that happy, or it's not going to be very good for leaf propagation. That's just what I found. So this, for example, this is an Echevera frosty, I think. This one's really great for leaf propagation. And what I tend to do, I use my fingers, because I feel like if you were to use scissors, you can't really feel if there's any resistance, and you don't want resistance. You don't want to tear the leaf away from the stem, and you don't want to snap it. What you want to do is it to come away clean. Like imagine you're pulling out teeth, and you don't want to leave any of the root behind. You want a nice clean break. So what I tend to do, I don't know if this is going to focus very well, is I wiggle from side to side and up and down, and more so at the base here, until eventually, okay, so here I'm just letting it hang, it's just going to fall off. And that's your leaf cutting. I don't know how to get the focus properly on this. But what you want to do is try and aim to have a bit of a curve there, and what that is the curve of the stem. So you haven't teared it, you haven't left any behind, and you haven't taken any of the stem. I'm not sure you can really see that. But yeah, I'm going to take a few more. So I'm literally just sort of pushing. If I come back here a bit, maybe pushing down, wiggling around, and eventually it just sort of comes away gently like this. Yeah, I'm going to just do this again. So I just want to gently wiggle. Come away. I'm just going to see if I can get a good view on this or not. Yeah, you can kind of see it here. We've just got the shape of the stem, and that's kind of what you're looking for. Okay, I'm going to do a different plant. So another Echevera. So I find Echeveras propagate really well from leaf. Crassulas propagate really well. So we've got this guy. He's actually a Pachywera. Sorry, got that wrong. But anyway, if this were still in its pot, you just want to go underneath and find the bottom leaves, and we're just gonna gently just wiggle them off. If you find any ripping or tearing, it's unlikely that the leaf's going to propagate. Having said that, like, succulents are amazing, and I've seen them propagate from midway up the leaf and from cracks and all sorts, so never rule it out. Again, so I'm just gonna wiggle, like pulling teeth, until it gently comes away, and you've got your little curve there for the stem. Do here. Okay, and yeah, you just take as much as you want, really. Often when I'm dealing with mother plants, I'm taking a load of cuttings, and then I'm stripping the stem, and I'm using the leaves. So I've got leaves, cuttings, and mother plant, and that's how I tend to work it. I've got another one here, another Echovera, who's in a pot as well. So if so this one, for example, I'm going to go right under the bottom here. So this leaf at the bottom, he's prime for leaf cutting. So I'm just going to get in there. If it's a long leaf, tend to just go right up to the stem and just wiggle back and forth, and literally it's just coming away really easy. Yeah. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Anyway, so yeah, here's a load that we took. So we did a video about leaf cutting, stem cuttings with Mum the other day, and these are all the leaves in here from them. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what we do with the leaves after we've taken the cuttings. So a lot of people talk about leaving a leaf to callus over, and the same with a stem. So we've never really done that, and we just kind of chuck them all in and hope for the best. I don't know if you had, like, I guess because we have a lot of plants, it doesn't matter if we lose one or two, but I don't know, maybe if you've only got one mother plant and 2 or 3 leaves, it might be worth leaving it for a few days. I don't know is the answer to that one. It's not something that we do, but it might help. The other thing people talk about is rooting hormones. So some people buy rooting hormones that they dip the end of the leaf in, or the stem when they're doing stem cuttings, and that then promotes growth. Again, it's not something we've ever done, and we've got a fantastic growth rate with our cuttings and our leaves, and it's not something we've ever invested in or felt the need to do. I know a lot of growers do swear by it, and perhaps it would happen quick, I don't know, but yeah, just to be open and honest, we don't use rooting hormone, and we don't let our plants callus over before we water them or add anything. So yeah, I don't know the best way to do this. Okay, so a lot of our leaves, we use plug trays. So I'm going to show you here to stand them in with the bit of the leaf that was pulled from the plant facing downwards. Okay, this guy's killed up a bit, but you can see the root coming on here, and we literally just drop them in to these plug trays. And yeah, that is probably one of our preferred ways of taking the leaf cuttings. And I think honestly it's more to do with mass and space than anything else, because as you can see here, we've got quite a lot of the leaves in a small space. So if I just pull these out, look, you can see they've got lovely roots on them. So these are probably ready for sorry, get the focus. These are probably ready to go into the next bit. What we have done more recently, because of the warmth in here in the summer, is we've added a towel like here underneath the plug tray, which we then tip water onto, and it just keeps some moisture just below the leaves. So we find, like, if there's water nearby the leaves, they tend to grow faster and they produce roots. Almost, I don't know, but I guess it's because they're kind of searching for it. So yeah, these have all got a towel under, and so has this here. So we water this, and it keeps these growing nice. So we've got these big fat ones here, which I just adore. So yeah, that's our one of the preferred methods we use for propagating leaves. We basically fill these trays up, and we keep the towel underneath them moist. So in the summer, it might be that we add water to that towel twice a week. In the winter, we didn't use the towel at all. We would just use a mister, and we would just spray over the top of the tray once a fortnight or so. We just kind of left them to it in the winter, and that worked really well. So another way that we find really great for leaves, sorry, I can see this video is going on and on, is in a tray like this. So we use crushed shell. Wait, I'll see if this picture is clearer. Yeah, we put crushed shell in a little dish, and then we lay the leaves on top like this, and we mist that. So this is great for little, really little leaves that might get lost in a big plug tray like that. And we mist it, and the shell soaks up some of the water, which is great, so it doesn't keep it too moist. They're not sat in water. It's sort of like how the towel works with the plug trays. The shell and the crushed shell pulls it away. And then, yeah, it's hard to get a real picture for it here. I think you can see the roots more in here. And then they just start shooting out little roots like that. So I like doing this. I've got lots of little trays like this all over the place, waiting, you know, propagating and getting ready. So something else I wanted to show you, which is just purely fascinating, is how succulents tend to just do it on their own. And there's all these different techniques and methods, but succulents are amazing. And often if left alone, people will say, well, I just chucked them in a drawer and they did their thing. They will often do really well. So this little tray here was some leaves that I put together to go in a gift set a few weeks ago. I can't remember why we didn't send it, or for whatever reason. So yeah, it's just been sat here in the conservatory because we like to send our cuttings fresh when they go to customers. Just sort of got abandoned. It hasn't had any water. It's just been in really bright, I would say, indirect sunlight in here in the conservatory, and almost every leaf has just propagated of its own accord. So I just they're all tangled up because there's so many leaves here. But look at this, just proper growth on there, loads of root. And here, they're dying for water. The leaves themselves are all shriveled. But these now, when they go into soil, are just going to be loving life. So, yeah, just it's amazing what they can do on their own. I was just in the polytunnel as well. And I just picked these out. So these, again, they were literally just sat on a terracotta tray in the blistering heat of the polytunnel. They've been there for a few weeks, just abandoned, and they're all just growing. So we use the plug trays on the whole to do our leaf propagation, and a lot of it's purely organisation. You've got the neat rows. I can label them. Who knows? Maybe they do propagate quicker with a bit of water underneath on that towel. But when it comes to the end of the day, they're just amazing, and they're going to do it or not. I don't know. I think you just give it a go, and I think you'll be all right. So somebody asked on the post earlier, how often do you water them once they go into the plug tray? So what I would say, is hold off putting them into soil as long as you can, because I know when you get leaves propagated, it's really exciting and you want to see them grow. They just do amazing outside of the soil, and the longer you can keep them out of the soil, when they do go into the soil, they're just going to be loving life and they'll explode. So I would say once you've got some decent root, like this guy's a bit crazy. Let me show you this one. This one is perfect now to go into soil. So he's got a bit of root and a bit of new growth. I think if you can get a bit of both, then it's ideal to go into the soil. So with this then, I haven't got any of the plug trays with me. I would literally just get a tiny little pot or a little tray of plugs, put a normal succulent mix in there, a bit of grit, a bit of soil, and I would just push this gently in to the top. I don't want to be pushing the leaf, like the growth into the soil, just to cover the leaves, and leave him be. Now in terms of watering, so with the leaves, we in the heat of summer at the moment, we're misting them once or twice a week. In the winter, it can be a hell of a lot less. It could be once a fortnight. Really does depend on the heat and where they're located. If you've got them in your own home and they're by a radiator, for example, they're going to need more water than if they're in a cold utility room or something like that. Just trying to think where I was going to... Oh yeah, watering. So yeah, once they're in the plugs, you can kind of treat them as actual plants. So what we advise with all succulent watering is you want to try and mimic droughts and monsoons that these plants would experience in their natural habitat. So what you want to do is just give them a big glug of water, soak them through like they've had a big monsoon, and then don't water them until they dry out. So for a potted plant, it might be a week or two that they dry out. In a hot summer, it might be a few days. In the winter, it can be weeks, which is why we don't water succulents very often in the winter. But yeah, it does change a lot in the summer. It's like I'm learning like succulents need water, a lot of it in the summer, and so yeah, some of mine was suffering quite a bit. Although it is better to err on the side of caution, because you'd be amazed at how succulents can bounce back from drought. But if you overwater it and they get soggy and rotten roots, it's pretty hard to come back from that. So with the plug plants, you want to do exactly the same. You want to soak them and let them dry out. But with the new plants in small pots, it's going to be faster. It's going to be more often because they're in less soil. So the less soil, the quicker it's going to dry out. And literally the only way to test that is just to poke your finger in there or get a moisture meter. And just, yeah, you've got to just trial and error really on where you are, what the weather's like, what kind of pot it's in, because if they're in like terracotta pots, for example, they might dry out quicker than if they're in like a plastic pot. Okay, I think that's everything for now. If you have any other questions, please comment below. We'll try and do some more videos. If you've got any questions about other kind of tutorials or topics you'd like us to talk about, that would be great to know. Now, I just want to plug a product or two while we're here. So if you wanted to have a go at leaf propagating, but you don't have any plants, or you don't want to take plants from your mother plants if you've only got one or you've only got a few, then we do sell what we call the Manager's Leaf Propagation Special. And this is a letterbox post parcel that comes with our leaf propagate instructions, and then a seasonal selection of our favourite leaves for propagating. So we won't include any leaves in this selection that we haven't propagated from ourselves. So we know that they're going to work. You know, obviously there's going to be some drop rate, although we do get a few customers who come back to us and like every single one has done, which is great, and we love to hear about it. I do often include one or two leaves that have some root just to get you going. We have had some people message us who are complete beginners and are really anxious about it, and they want all of them with a little bit of root on just to get them going. And we appreciate some people love to have do it all themselves and wouldn't want any root. So as a whole, I mostly don't include any that have started already. I might just put one or two in. But if you have any specific requests, please email, and we're happy to help. So we also do a leaf propagation gift set. So we've partnered with Abbott Ceramics, who are it's a local lady to us who makes her own ceramic dishes. So we designed this with her specifically for leaf propagation. It's a terracotta pot with this lovely seafoam green glaze. And it's got this little grooves in the bottom to help with water management. And that comes then with a bag of crushed shell that we use for our leaf propagation to tip in there. And then it also comes with a little box of leaves to fit in the dish as well. So the dish, the shell and the leaves, you get a care guide, and we do handwritten notes for gifts if you want us to include one and it's not for yourself. So there's a tractor going past. This video is coming up to 20 minutes, so I think I've talked for long enough. If you have any questions, you know where we are. I'll drop some links below for the propagation, the Manager's Special and the gift set. I think that's it for now. Thanks for watching.